This chapter's going to be deliberately rough around the edges. What I'm going to try and do here is share with you an approach that's worked wonders for me over the last 2 to 3 years. That doesn't necessarily say that it will work for you. I've become desensitized to talking to my phone, as weird as that sounds, and by being able to get out for a walk and create content at the same time, it allows me to diarize my thoughts. And this is coming from someone who's never written a diary in his life. When we're using AI tools, it is very much a case of horses for courses. That is why this is such a difficult course to put together. But if you're in doubt about the way that you could proceed with low-cost solutions and start integrating AI into your daily workflow, then this is a tried and tested approach. The video itself, as I mentioned at the start, is going to be rough around the edges. All I've done for the key part of this video is just trim out all of the gaps, because I generally will write content when I'm using speech to text like this. I'll say the first sentence, and then instead of saying or I will just pause, sometimes for 15 or 20 seconds. I've taken out that aspect for you so you don't have to sit through all of those pauses. So that's why you'll find the next part really quite choppy. But I also wanted to give you an authentic view of the flow and how it works. So even when I've made mistakes in the dialogue, I've left it in. Lesson number 1, you're going to mess this up, and the likelihood is you'll be the one reviewing the content and editing it, or you'll be feeding it through an AI tool like ChatGPT to tidy it up, which we'll be doing at the end of this video. Let's head over and take a look. Full disclosure, this chapter is actually going to serve 2 purposes. One, I'm going to show you how we go about this process of writing content whilst we're out and about having a walk. Above and beyond that, we're also going to be converting this into a blog post that will go on to our Pixel Haze Academy website. I'm all for trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So here is the process of how I write most of our content here at Pixel Haze Academy. It's such a nice day. I just wanted to get out and about and go for a walk. I'm actually the director of a healthcare company called Back to Roots. Periodically throughout the year, we set our own healthcare challenges, our next goal and next something to aim for. And at the moment, it is to go 6 months where I'm walking 10,000 steps a day and aiming to average 11 to 12,000 steps a day. When most of your work is working in a studio environment or in meetings, as you guessed it, most of that is sat down. So for me to be able to get out and go for a walk and be productive at the same time is a boon. Therefore, this chapter is all about how we can use AI to help us get out and about more and still be productive at the same time. So whether you're self-employed or working in a team, this will hopefully be the video that you can show your boss or yourself as a reminder that you can achieve both. And of course, nice weather like this does certainly help. We've had 8 to 10 weeks of miserable weather here in the UK, so it's just really nice to have some good weather as well. So anyway, let's get on to the content. From here on in, I'm going to be taking the transcript from what I'm about to say, putting it into ChatGPT, and then reshaping it into a blog post. I'm going to be using the GPT-4 engine, which is the latest. To access that, you will need to pay around $20 per month, so £16 per month. And if you're serious about integrating AI into your business, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's the first thing that I would pay for because the speed of response in terms of how you can use it, but also the quality of content it's creating, especially if you're looking to start creating marketing content for your business. There is a huge step up between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4. But anyway, that's enough of an intro. Let's start on with today's blog post. There will probably be a bit of repetition because it's actually on the same topic. How am I going to start? It's a rare, glorious day here in the UK, so I just wanted to get out and take a walk whilst writing content for my website. So this blog post is all about how you can combine background activity, exercise, getting some fresh air with content. Historically, that would have been more difficult because even if we were to go out and record ourselves, there would probably be a high level of error. There'd probably be quite a lot of errors in the text. That would take a lot of manual work as well. This is a process that we've been refining using a wonderful AI tool that's completely free to use to get started with called Otter. And Otter AI allows me to record either audio or video, and most of the time I would record straight into Otter instead of recording a video, and it will on the fly convert what I'm saying to a transcript. It's very, very accurate. Not 100%. When I'm putting the content into other AI tools in the future to rewrite it into a blog post, I will actually specify to say that this content won't be 100% accurate. There is also, I believe, a way that you can have a real-life human checking over the transcript and fixing it so it can be 99.9% accurate, which, again, is something that you may want to consider if you don't want to do the edit process yourself. So how does it work? Essentially, you grab your phone, ideally grab some AirPods or headphones, because the microphone will be closer to you, so it will pick it up a better sound and you'll have more accuracy as well with that. The one thing with going outdoors, especially if it's a windy day, you're going to have background noise, and even just that gust of wind there will probably affect the quality of the sound a little bit. Because we're not recording this for broadcast, it doesn't matter about how the sound comes across, but it will affect how accurate the AI tool will be when it converts it to a transcript. So that's the first thing that I'd remember. Secondly, it's getting into a process of being comfortable talking to your phone whilst you're out for a walk. So if you're in a public park or public space, that can be very weird to start with. I'm very fortunate, I live in the middle of nowhere, and so being able to get out and walk in an area like this, there's no one around, and essentially the sheep don't care about what I say. In fact, they're not paying any attention whatsoever. So having an environment where you have peace and quiet to be able to talk to yourself and not feel silly is pretty important with it as well. Then it's the process of just being comfortable doing this. Like I wouldn't normally record this into a video, and you wouldn't see all of the mistakes I'm making, the sentences I'm saying again because I screwed it up last time, and all of those bits you wouldn't normally see. But this is the whole point of this one. It's a behind the scenes video clip, and I'll actually edit this bit out of the blog post itself. But yeah, a behind the scenes video clip of showing it warts and all in terms of all the errors, all the times I repeat what I say, just to get more accurate content into that final blog post. The next step that we need in our blog post is to be able to structure it. So before you go out and you walk it, if you're the type of person who likes to make loads of notes, I tend to wing it, but you can make a load of notes, do your research, maybe look at some other videos and seeing how, read other blog posts and seeing what other professionals' take on that topic will be. But think of a numbered approach when you're starting out. It works really well. For example, my 5 top tips for X. So if you can start with that, that will anchor you in and keep you on point when you're going through writing that content. So let's just pick an example for this video, and we're going to say my 5 top tips for getting started in web design. So we're actually writing a blog post within a blog post now, so it's bit of inception. So tip number 1, a little bit of research is good. If you are faced with the task of writing and building your own website, then it's well worth doing some background research into your competitors, but also see who the main trailblazers are in your industry. But also find out who the main trailblazers are within your industry. There can be a problem sometimes by just looking at your immediate competition in terms of no one will raise the bar. If your website is slightly better than your competitors, then great. But ultimately, is that the bar, is that the standard you're looking for? What if their website is substandard? And a professional will be able to tell you, a good professional will be able to come in and tell you and work with you to highlight all of the pinch points, all of the most important aspects of web design that you may not know yourself, which is fine because that's probably not your profession. And so, yeah, when I'm working with a client and we're going through what I call the website blueprint, which is our briefing process, we start off by having a quick scan at the competition just to see where we are in the market, but we don't spend too much time there. What we'll try and do is find examples that maybe on brand, have a similar brand style, whether it's very corporate or very playful, very colorful, etc. And we try and find other examples that may be in corresponding industries or have a slight crossover, but not a one-to-one competitor. That is often the best way to innovate and to come up with new ideas. Point number 2, this would have helped if I had written notes beforehand. Point number 2, don't chase the fads. Point number 2, don't blindly follow trends. As a designer, I am a sucker for this, where sometimes I will see the latest trend and I want to incorporate that in the design. So whether that was monochromatic layouts, bringing in flat design, which was a very popular trend 8 to 10 years ago, when you may have noticed companies like Google really simplifying and streamlining their logo designs to be flat, as opposed to using gradients and effects. Before that, everyone was using beveled effects, gradients, and glass-colored buttons. If you're old enough, you might remember those. And so being a slave to trends can not only stop you from evolving if you're a designer, but also means that your website, if you're a business owner, you'll always have to be mindful of not just following the latest trends blindly. Point number 3, find the right platform for you. Now, you'll see countless articles, and I'm a culprit for this as well, where you have professionals saying, you should be using this platform. So our preferred website platform is Squarespace, because I think it strikes the perfect balance between easy to get used to, the template that we start with look gorgeous, and also it really scales up in complexity for us when we need to. So I've built 3-page websites and paid websites using the Squarespace platform. It's really scalable and really capable. However, there may be some reasons that isn't suitable for you. For example, your background is in server management and development, not necessarily design. Then WordPress might be a better solution for you because it gives you more control over the hosting, over how you manage the website. For our clients, that's very rarely the issue. So we want a solution that's all in one box, that doesn't break very often, and something that we are needed to manage heavily on a month-by-month basis, because we specialize with working with small, agile businesses who want to build a website and focus on content as opposed to focusing on the technical aspect. However, if you were to create a huge online store, you might be looking at a bespoke solution, or you may be looking at something like Shop of Squarespace has come on a huge amount in terms of its capabilities for e-commerce, but I would still say it's best when you have fewer than 1,000 products. Point number 4, running out of ideas. Point number 4, the content will always take longer than you think. The great thing now with AI tools is that this will really speed up the process. But there's a reason why we often encourage content creation as part of our web design workshops, because with all the best intentions, the vast majority, and I'm saying 9 out of 10 here, of our clients they underestimate how long content creation is going to take, and they don't allow enough time, meaning that that is the one major reason why projects get delayed. The second one is for photo shoots, but generally, if the content's going to delay a project, we like to jump ahead of the game when we're providing that service and saying, hey, we can write the content with you. We can interview the client using Otter AI, exactly the same process as I'm doing now. Ask the right questions to find out who their audience are, who they're targeting and working with, making everything else that much easier. So we can harness the latest technology and still get the content from the client and provide that service in a really quick turnaround. And that's because we don't underestimate how long the process needed for web design, which has allowed us to refine and improve it constantly on a case-by-case basis. And our final point is, if you're struggling with the technical aspects, get help. So regardless of the platform that you're working with, there will always be experts who can jump in and solve a problem that could take you 2 days and solve it in a couple of minutes. And I'm talking about things like domain name transfer, email setup, all of the areas that are very frustrating when you first start working with them. Heck, they're even frustrating once you've had more time as well. There's a tractor coming down the road here at the moment, so the sound is going to be a little bit muffled. So we're going to try and see if you can still hear what I'm saying. So that's one of the challenges you have when you get out walking and recording your content at the same time. Okay, so those are 5 points that will hopefully help you manage your website better, and whether you're becoming a web designer yourself, or in most cases looking just to get past the problem of creating a website for your business, these are just a handful of areas that can help you do it more smoothly, if that makes sense. Okay, hopefully this video has helped you understand in terms of how I write content. We've been running for about 17-18 minutes. Normally 9-10 minutes is all I'd need to write a really good detailed blog post. As I'd recommend, just to wrap up, pre-plan ahead. So get all the main points that you want to get across in your blog post, especially when you're starting out and you haven't done this process a few times. You're going to feel silly the first time you do it, but it's well worth having a go. As I said, there's a few things that I would do slightly differently. For example, my arms are starting to die now because I've just literally been holding the camera phone as I've been going. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some ideas of terms of how we can use AI and some good old-fashioned talking to be able to create regularly updated content for our own blog. Catch you next time.